So happy Friday, everyone. Um, it's interesting being in a new location here. I'm in the main floor of my home. Um, okay, so Friday night Tai Chi. So we've been a week off. So thank you for joining me. Um, and I hope you had a nice week off reviewing everything that we did so far. And yeah, welcome back. I'm still trying to get back into the groove myself. And yeah, I had a really crazy week. Unexpected vet trips, unexpected car breakdowns, unexpected credit cards being hacked all on the same day. Um, Valentine's Day. I don't know what happened, but it all happened all at once. And so I'm just trying to navigate myself back into some sort of a routine. And this is really helpful for me as well in order to find myself in center and then going with the flow, which is what Tai Chi is all about. So if you're joining me in today's class, if it's your first time, welcome. We do something every Friday and we have a series of Tai Chi classes until we finish the 24 style, and then I'm thinking of moving it to Qigong, yoga, and maybe even cooking, which a lot of you have requested. Essentially why we're doing all of this is because we are applying techniques that we learned from various sources of wisdom, Tai Chi coming from the Far East, as a way to integrate them and utilize them in our lives and heal our traumas. I found a lot of body somatic, especially mindful body somatic movements to be really helpful in drawing back our soul and inviting it back into our body. Oftentimes with trauma, what happens is that um, not only does the body remember that event, but in the remembering of it through certain triggers, usually through our senses, our five senses, whether it's a sight or a sound or a smell even, really powerful smell, then our body is reminded by the pain that we went through. And one of the ways that our mind and our spirit deals with it unconsciously is to leave our body, or what is called to dissociate. So by inviting safe safety, which is being lost, by inviting a sense of play, which can only happen when you're in a state of relaxation, this allows us to come home into the body. So that's why we're doing this. I found it really helpful in my healing journey. So if you're watching this, I hope you'd stay tuned in the end, because we've kind of started doing this Tai Chi with poetry, and then turns out I'm writing a book. So if you don't know that, subscribe to my newsletter at traumatransfiguration.com, because that's where I keep everyone up to date with what's happening. So if we still have time, I can read a portion of the book as it's being written. It's kind of exciting to be a part of that, and maybe I should start putting up some surveys about, what are some things. I mean, the book is already pretty much written, but I'd love to hear some feedback. And for example, the book cover, I'm working with someone on designing that, so maybe I can post the potential covers and you guys can help me choose. I think that'll be fun. So, without getting carried away with all that stuff, let me move this bone. Let's begin. So, let's begin by warming up our bodies. So, one of the ways that we can do that. So, I especially, on top of everything, have somehow acquired this low back discomfort. And because of that, it's really helped me be more mindful of my motion, my movement, my abilities even. So things that I used to take for granted, like lifting things or shoveling snow, which we just got a really heavy downpour of snow here, has become kind of like an excruciating task. So then in today's, I guess, Tai Chi class, I'm going to be especially mindful of not only my bodies, but for anyone out there who's watching, um, who may have a painful body. Okay, so mobilizing. So if you notice, I'm just kind of not twisting to my full range because that's really uncomfortable. And I'm going to invite you to, one of the ways that we can invite the body, the mind, the soul, the spirit to come back to the body is by tapping. So we can gently tap our parts of the bodies left and right. Okay, and again, being mindful of my movements here, so I'm just taking it slow because of that injury. And maybe even bringing some attention and loving kindness to the parts of my body that are in physical pain. Sometimes those physical pains are oftentimes reflected by emotional pain we feel inside. So I'm just gonna do that same tapping motion. This is the same thing, except much slower, just because of my limitations. And then we can rub our hands together like this to generate some heat. And this is definitely very fitting considering it's being really, really cold where I live right now. And then we can even begin to play around with the chi again. Okay, being really mindful. Okay, and just following whatever intuitive movement that may call you. So for me, like there's this kind of swaying that's starting to happen. It starts from my feet and traveling back up to my hips. Okay, so as I start doing this chi ball thing, my body is doing this swaying. Okay, so as I sway, I'm bending the knee that I'm swaying towards to accommodate my weight. Okay, and then perhaps then I can begin to move my body a little bit more wider and allow it to occupy more of the space that is around me. So this is what I mean by the mindfulness exercise that we're participating in, is that awareness of our existence, our body, and how it takes up space, and how it moves. I'm seeing comments, and I don't know if I can respond to them. It's hard for me to see because I'm utilizing my phone, but thank you for the comments. Okay. Good. So, there's a few things happening here. There's my awareness, and hopefully your awareness as well, of your feet, which is in contact with the earth. Okay? And it's not static. There's micro movements there as we shift our weight. So maybe I can move away from the camera and you can see a little bit more of what's happening. There we go. So then you can kind of see my knees. My knees are also moving with the motion. Maybe the camera's too high. That's okay. I'm just gonna go with the flow because that's what Tai Chi is all about. Okay, one thing that I noticed with myself is that my shoulders are a little bit tense, so I'm just gonna bring some breath awareness there. Maybe I didn't tap it enough. And allow it to relax and just allow my body to move. There we go. So then the movement, the rotational movement starts from the feet, travels up the legs, into the pelvis. The hips is what guides this movement, not the shoulders at all. And that simple awareness to how we communicate and how we direct essentially our body, at least the conscious part of it. You know, there's parts of our bodies that are not controlled by our conscious mind. You know, certain muscles that are functioning on their own, whether or not we want to or not. Those are called smooth muscles. So smooth muscles function regardless or not whether we want them to function or not. So what are smooth muscles? Well, they're muscles that are usually part of the internal organs, like around the internal organs. So muscles that help contract your intestines, which then help smooth the food that you've eaten and plays a big role in digestion. Even the diaphragm, which controls our breath, is semi-partially controlled, semi-partially not, because of course we can modify the depth of our breath, but for the most part we're not even aware of it and it's just doing its thing. Our heart is a wonderful example of a really strong muscle that functions whether we like it or not. So it's important to be aware of how much control do we really have in our body. I'm just going to move forward here, because the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do these rotational movements that everyone likes on our neck. So when we move our joints, these muscles are called the skeletal muscles because they're often attached to bones. And the meeting place of the bones, which are the joints. And the role of these muscles are just to pull. When we move, it's a pulling motion. And let's try that. So let's pull our hands upwards, wave hands, breathing in. Exhale, pull downwards, you see. Breathing in and breathing out. Even the notion of pushing is really the muscles pulling your joint, stretching it forward. They're often paired. One muscle is paired with the opposite. So one does the pulling this way, the other pulls the other way. So pulling in, pulling out. And this is kind of the notion that I want to share with you guys today, is this notion of waves coming in and waves coming out. Pulling in, pulling out. So in life, there is often a wave-like motion in all aspects of our life, whether or not it's physical movement or emotional movement. So there's times in our life where we need to withdraw and pull in, and there's times in our life where we need to pull out and be more extroverted, what have you. So in my example, my life was kind of pulled out a little bit out of my control in various ways, and it's up to me to surrender and allow that flow to occur in its own thing, knowing that it's going to come back to its other end. So when we expand, we contract. What goes up must go down. This is the very concept of yin and yang. And if we can acknowledge and honor that this is the universal law of nature, then we begin to suffer less, because we can understand that when things in our life changes in any direction, whether it's expansion or contraction or pulling forward or pulling backward, what it is, it's just a natural cycle of life. And if we begin to accept that, then we can accept the changes that we may not expect in our life, or we may not want to, or we may resist, okay? All right, so let's actually do some Tai Chi now. So breathing in, breathing out. Okay, let's bring the Tai Chi ball. Remember this, okay? Ward off. Oh, okay, I started with ward off. We'll just continue with the flow. This is where we ended. from last time, and that's a good place to start. I don't know if you could see Buddy on the camera, but he is laying down. I guess all the slowing down has slowed him down too. So we're going to ward off. So usually we don't start with ward off, but today we're gonna go with the flow because that's how we started. All right, this is where we ended. Push. Wonderful. And then we're going to do wave hands. So just like the waves, comes in, comes out. And you notice as I'm doing wave hands, I'm also shimmying myself to one side because then we're going to do this move, which I don't know the name of, to this, push, to high pat on horse. Oh, this is, oh, I forgot. High pat on horse. Okay, I think this is where we got to last time, you see. So high pat on horse. It's kind of like imagine there's a horse. It's funny because there's this, in front of me, I wish you could see it, is this horse kind of carpet. So I can actually imagine the horse. So you're taking the face of the horse and you're just giving the horse kind of a nice brush, you know, on its head, like a high pat on horse. Wonderful. And from here, I suppose the next move is this cross arms, okay? And let me move back a bit so you can see what's happening. So high pat on horse, cross arms. You're gonna take the back foot, okay? This is the first time we're gonna fully remove it from the floor, okay? We haven't done that before. And we're going to give a kick. So, okay, some people, their kick is gonna look like this, very, very low. Some people, their kick is gonna be uber high. Now, I encourage you to please honor your body and respect where it's at. So for me, today it's gonna be low because remember, back injury, okay? And then from here, you take both fists and move it forward without your back foot ever leaving the floor, okay? I mean, yeah, you want to keep, you know, if the back foot is kind of like tippy-toeing, that's fine. Okay. Just experimenting with what feels better. It feels better, solid. Good. I feel more sturdy. All right. And then onto the other side. Wait a second. I think I may be mixing this up. Yeah. This is the other move. Okay. Let's try that again. Sorry, my mind is all over the place today. That's okay. It happens. All right, let's start from the beginning. So, breathing in, breathing out. In and out. In and out. So we're gonna start with ward off. Okay, we're just gonna ignore everything so far that we learned. This is where we started. So, ward off. Okay. Grasp the bird's tail. Push. Come back. And push. Okay, other way around. Wave hands. Ward off. Grabs the bird's tail. Push. And push. Come back. Wave hands. Shimmy. And then we're gonna shimmy. One more time, just for fun. Wave hands. Okay, my screen is getting dark. Okay, I'm still on. Okay. I don't know what happened. My phone just completely blacked out, which never happens, but I'm still live. Fantastic. So I can't do snake creeps through the vine, so I think we're gonna pause there because we did learn the kick and the fist, and then, so this is bizarre. So it just keeps going, even though it turns completely black. I don't know what's going on. How much time have we occupied? 20 minutes. Okay. Alright, so let's just do one fluid motion starting from the beginning. Okay? So wave hands. I'm inhaling, exhaling. I'm just gonna do it silently so you can just follow along, I suppose. So I'm not sure if that was recording or what, but see, it's turning itself. I don't know why it does that. This is the first time that's occurred. I'm just gonna keep going. So I suppose we can talk a little bit about the book. Thank you for joining me in that class, and thank you for still being here despite the technical difficulties. I think I'm gonna have to keep pressing the screen so it doesn't turn entirely, and so it doesn't turn off entirely. So I'm gonna have to adjust this tripod. Maybe I'll just angle it downwards. Try to figure out how to use this contraption. There we go. Wonderful. Okay, because every now and then I'm gonna have to, or watching experience. So yeah, every now and then I'm gonna have to press the screen like that. I guess it's a great way of keeping your attention. So I don't know what's happening. So as you know, I recently released a podcast episode about how pornography affects our families and our society. So it's quite a controversial topic, and of course YouTube likes to demonetize my content because everything I say is controversial. So oh yeah, let me show you the horse before we begin. See, my mind is spacey today. I just keep, that's the horse, iPad on horse. And then I'm working on this aquarium project here, which you might have seen in my shorts. Malulu loves the aquarium. We don't have fish yet. And then of course there's our superstar buddy over there on the floor taking a nap. So why don't we angle our, let's angle it a bit this way, that looks nice. I know, horses. You know, one of my dreams is to learn how to ride a horse. So I think that's gonna happen this spring, saving money up for it. So we'll see, and then I'll give you guys maybe Tai Chi with horses. So let's see how much time we have. I really want to read this chapter to you because this is related to the previous episode, and this chapter is called Redefining Addictions. So I'll just read it to you, and then you can let me know what you think. And please sign up to the newsletter because that's where I'm going to continue to release bits and pieces of my book. So we'll see. If you like the first paragraph, we'll continue. Let me know. Redefining Addictions. Okay, one thing I want to take out of your vocabulary is unhealthy versus healthy coping mechanisms. Many people relate to addictions in this way, that they are either unhealthy ways of coping with our stress and adversity, or they are healthy. Firstly, I want to give you a truth bomb. Just like how we all have traumas, guess what? We all have addictions. We all have a kryptonite. An addiction is essentially a medicine, a remedy for some of our deepest wounds. Some turn to alcohol, some turn to drugs, and if you're like me, you turn to sex and pornography. Some to food, and some to caffeine, some to video games, and many people turn to work. Yes, work is the biggest addiction of all time. Overwork is disguised to make us look productive, accomplished, successful members of society. but anything that takes you away from your real self. And I can't really know if it was streaming or not. Um, so let me know what you think about that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd have to put that on the newsletter, and then you can let me know through there as well. Just because YouTube Live is kind of doing this weird thing. So thank you for joining me. My apologies for the interruption, if that was interrupted. And c'est la vie, such as life. Things, happen. As I said, they come and go. Ebb and flow, ebb and flow. So happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for listening. Okay, let's end this.